Wonderboy beats John the One.
The fx30 I kind of like because they got this thing called Cine L. So apparently it's I'm not gonna lie to you and explain to you what it is, but I know because you know it's very intimidating, especially you know, seeing all these buttons and stuff like that. And for some reason the Canon was more complicated to me than the fx30. But the fx30, like, literally when you're on Cine L, it only gives you 2 types of exposures, which is kind of nice, because you know, now I'm not sitting thinking, you know, should I go higher or lower. You know, it's like, here, pick this or that, you know what I mean? So I kind of like that, you know. So I think it's at like either 800 or 12, but don't even quote me on that. But it's very simpler, you know. And I like with the camera, all the buttons. I don't know, the Canon, it didn't even seem, because it's the same price as the iPhone. It didn't even seem, it seemed like 2 steps lower than the iPhone. So I had to return it, you know. I'm all about, you know, like, if I'm gonna spend money, I want, you know, it to be worth it, you know. I'm not afraid to return something, but it's not gonna, I mean, yes, a lot. I mean, it's not for, to get the good quality that you can spend, even on a used one. You can get a good used fx30 for $13, $12, I bet, on eBay. I'm telling you, you know. But like I said, if you have an iPhone or Android, I was doing a lot of great videos off my iPhone 12, and then I graduated to some basic Sony ZV-1F, and I was doing a lot of great videos with that, you know. I haven't been able to experiment with the slow-mo on this yet, because I that's another thing too. When you're doing slow-mo, you want to have a certain kind of memory card, so remember that too. I just found that out. So, but to, you know, to get good cinematic slow shots, you know, slow-mo up close, you know. But I can't wait till I do the slow-mo on this camera. But it's also good in low light, you know. Right now I only got 2, you know, main lights, but you know, you see, the focal point all the way up. Well, this lens is already all the way to 1.8. But even my if you want to get like a good versatile lens too, the 18 to 105 Sony, amazing. You know, still get a good decent background blur too. But you know, it's very versatile. This one right here is a fixed, but it's autofocus, and apparently, getting, you know, when I first bought my first lens, you know, because I do a lot of self shooting, I got a manual focus, and I didn't realize, but I actually accidentally bought. Well, I got the new gimbal, the mini and the DJI 4 and the 4 mini, but it comes with auto tracker. But it also comes, the 4 came with the LiDAR, and I actually bought an extra art LiDAR for 800, but I'm gonna return that. But that's kind of nice now, because now you can get, what it does is you can get a manual focus lens for a decent price, and it does auto focusing for you. So you can get a good cheap cinematic manual focus lens, and it can be damn near autofocus. And you know, what I learned, lenses can get up to $10,000, $7,000, $3,000, you know, for good cinematic lens. But this one, you know, this by Ciru 20 millimeters. For somebody that's shooting, it's good. Good for running gun situations. Also, I could tell. But if shooting yourself, once I figure it out, I can't figure out the auto tracking. But me holding the camera, I'm getting good, good amount, and still wide, but yeah, 20 was perfect. I'm glad, that I got the 20. But so when it comes to the millimeters, the closer, like the shorter, like if it's like, let's say it's 105 millimeters, that means it's getting a lot more. You know what I mean? A lot more. So that like farther away. My understanding, correct me. I could be wrong, but like the 18 to 105. So that means it's a zoom lens. But if you hear the word prime lens, that means it's fixed. That means like this right here is a prime anamorphic autofocus lens. But this one's autofocus. But I can't wait to get like another cinematic lens and try out the LiDAR on the gimbals. But yeah, man, whatever you got, like I said, even if it's a cell phone, just start somewhere. Half the battle's just starting, and I promise you, you'll be like, wow, I didn't know I could do this, and learning, to get a good cinematic shot for a newbie like me. What I found was slow motion, and what I've learned when it comes to slow motion, you want to have higher frames per second, so at least 60 frames per second where it doesn't look choppy when you're slowing it down. And 120, I mean, I've seen phones that you shoot 240, but really you don't even need 240. So if you have a camera or a phone that can do 120, that's good for a good slow-mo. I know 60 works. I never done it, but I heard 60 is just as good. But what you want to do if you're new and you really don't know, like cinematic looks, you want to keep it at like 24 frames per second, so that gets that movie look. And most regulation TV movies is shot at 24 frames per second. And what you want to do also, you want to always double what your frames per second is to get a good background blur. The shutter speed to be double that. So if you're shooting 24 frames per second, what you want to do is 48 shutter speed. 60 or 30, if you're shooting 30 frames per second, 60. To get that good background blur, and if you're also shooting outside where it's very bright, when you they got this thing called an ND filter. So what it is basically it's like sunglasses for your camera, and it's what it does is it's allowing it to open up so much where it doesn't get too bright, and so then you get a better background action blur. So invest. If I were you, you'd be good looking. I'm just kidding. If I were you, I would invest in an ND filter. Today I was taking pictures with my Maddie and my ND filter, and the fx30 is amazing at pictures too. Like it's hard for me to say things, because I'm always judging it from my iPhone. But this is the one time where I could say, hey man, it's better than the iPhone, and I'm an iPhone advocate, like I said, I just got I got an iPhone 12 probably 3 years ago, and I was like, this video is amazing, so when I got the 16 Pro Max, I was more amazed, but there's nothing, you're gonna get professional results shooting with a camera, a phone, but you're not going to be. It's not going to be taken as serious, taken seriously as you shooting with a camera with a rig and a monitor and a gimbal. You know what I mean? And if you got an iPhone or camera phone, I'm not by any means. I'm not saying don't do it or don't start off with that, because that's what I did. So, I get a lot of gigs from jobs. So, or when you're just around out and about. So when I think us as I'm not saying that I'm professional or whatnot, but I think us as videographers and photographers, when we get equipment, it's it's like getting a car, getting a new part for your car. You know what I mean? Kitted up. But for example, like this right here, it's a Matty box. It's an ND filter, but it blocks the shade. But this right here, something simple like this can get make your camera look so official, where you can get jobs for a good bid. You know what I mean? Just having something like that just adds more officialness to it. So but like I said, if you got a camera phone, don't be afraid to because you can get amazing shots. I was at my friend Jackie's her salon's party, and I was only there for like, I say damn near an hour only, and I was very proud of myself, for because I was watching the video today, and I was just like, I was like controlling the, I was like, hey, can you move here, and I was only there taking pictures for only like 20 minutes, and I got some great shots that made a good video. And you start learning, and you start learning and getting into your, everybody has their own way of doing things, so like I said, half the battle is just doing it. And if I could give any advice to anybody on anything when it comes to stuff like this, is to learn everything yourself. Not only are you saving money, you can get things done at your own time. It's nice to get things done for free, but I tend to always try to pay somebody, because they're going to get it done on their own time, and which they should have every right to, because you're getting it done. They're doing it for free, So, when it comes to a point where you're hiring, that's a good problem. That means you're busy doing something else. You know what I mean? You're not you have to delegate that because you need to get something else done. You know what I mean? But that's a good problem. So. Learn everything yourself, man. I mean, I was literally homeless, living in the shelters, and I was like, man, I'm gonna be a influencer. Never knew how to make a video. Never knew how to do anything, make a beat or anything. And the things I can say, now, I can honestly say a few more beats, over 10 million views. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it's like I'm not rich off of it, but I can say it. You know what I mean? So no matter what, the best feeling in the world too. Like, because I haven't been like pushing it. Like before, I used to tag everyone and try to, now it's like, I feel like I accomplished stuff. I don't have to prove nothing to anybody. But yesterday I just I went on YouTube, and I didn't realize, literally one of my songs, this is the second time one of my songs were trending, where like 200 people made a reel out of it, and I was just like, what the, that's the best feeling, and man, I went on TikTok, and I saw, one of my songs I didn't even think about, like 10 people made a video of it, and Like I made sure I reposted this shit to everybody. You know, anybody that uses any of my songs in their videos, man, I really appreciate it, and I'll repost it. And even if you want me to share something of yours, don't be afraid to ask me. I don't, you know, I love doing. I think I'm the only person that. I mean, I'm not saying the only person, but I don't mind showing love. You know what I mean? And you know, even on TikTok, if I see that we're friends, I might not watch your video, but I'm clicking like. If I see a little red envelope, I'm always doing that. You know, like I'd rather do that than, you know, not watch it, you know, and not do anything, you know, because I have people watching it and not even, you know. I went through like a insecure stage where I was just like, people, okay, well, TikTok, you know, you probably heard me say this numerous times, but I was like, people are watching it for 2,000 people are watching it on Facebook, but no one's liking it. But on TikTok, 200 people are watching it, but it's getting 80 likes. You know what I mean? And you know, like first of all, that stuff is not even important. You know, but you know, I stepped back off of, you know, posting on TikTok, you know, which I don't know why, but that's where I started, you know. But now I'm back, you know. So and I also, you know, like, because people know I don't like going live because I don't know, I get anxiety or whatnot. But I'm gonna do videos like this where I'm not even gonna, you know, edit it. You know, I'm just gonna talk, you know, and do fairly little bit editing. You know, when I first started, I was putting 3 videos a day, you know, and you know, sometimes I had to tell myself, you know, remind myself to take a break. But you know, now it's like, you know, I had to go through a few things, you know, and realize the grass is not greener. I don't know if it's the right terminology, but you know, like, the things that I thought were important really weren't important, you know. And you know, as long as you're happy, and you know, when you're starting out too, don't get discouraged if you're not getting support from people, you know. And another piece of important advice, you know, like, show support. If you want support, show support to other people, you know what I mean? Like, you know, even though people are not even thinking like that, do it, you know what I mean? Like, you know, why not? You know what I mean? If somebody's helping you, you know, if they start supporting you, should support them, you know. But anybody that needs me to ever to like share or tips or anything, don't be afraid, you know. Or if you, you know, I don't mind teaching anybody anything, you know. When I first came out, you know, because you know, I went through that tough time in my life, and then you know, especially leaving music and coming back to it, and I was just like so discouraged. I was like, man, I thought I would get support from the people that used to support me, but that wasn't the case. But neither here or there, you know, like, you know, don't get discouraged, you know what I mean? And at the end of the day, you work hard and you keep working, it's gonna finally pay off, you know. But at the end of the day, if you're happy, that's all that matters, you know. You know, the thing, what I've learned, you know, especially starting and no one supported, you know, and then going into situations, learning how to do all these things, and you know, people, just be yourself, you know, and you know, be humble, you know. Don't be afraid, you know, to, you know, I never cried, you know, it's hard for me to cry, but you know, to me, to be honest, you know, sometimes I'm like close to crying because I'm so thankful or whatever. But let people understand who you are, you know. Or if you're a funny guy, show you're a funny guy. If you're weird, you know, because people want to be able to, you know, relate to you. You know, you know, no one, everybody's weird in their own kind of way, you know, and I know, you know, I'd rather somebody be real than fake, you know, even if I don't, if I don't like them, you know what I mean, like, I'd rather them be, you know, but, you know, just understand, don't get caught up to be, you know, because people get depression from, you know, trying to start things and not get support, and that's not a healthy way. And I'll be the first one to, you know, tell you guys that, you know, once you're comfortable with everything, and even if no one's supporting it, just keep doing it, you know what I mean? And when it comes to a point where you don't even care no more, that's when everything's gonna start working out, I promise you. You know, the people that are rocking with you, rock with them. You know, please, 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 please. No one's better than nobody. And if you want to get, you know, like, that right there is like another piece of advice right there. You know what I mean? To go get love, show love too. You know what I'm saying? Even when you get to that point, don't be afraid. Don't forget about anybody, because you can get back down to that point. I'm not saying I'm at any point. I'm saying I'm at a point where I'm happy no matter what. Even if it's one view, I'm happy, you know.
Wonderboy beats John the One.